France ran out of time to prepare, but their aircraft were surprisingly impressive. Modern bombers, deadly fighters, even wooden wonders. 42 different types entered combat. Let's examine every French aircraft that flew in World War II, beginning with fighters. Dewoitine D.520. France's top fighter, 535 kilometers per hour, agile enough to duel Bf-109Es equally. Pilot Pierre Le Gloan scored 18 kills in one. May 1940. France needed 2,000. Production delivered 437. That gap cost air superiority. Yet France's most numerous fighter was even weaker. Morane-Saulnier MS-406, over 1,000 built, France's fighter backbone that crumbled at altitude. Below 4,000 meters, competitive. Above, Bf-109s hunted them effortlessly. Underpowered engines choked where real combat happened. Losses mounted daily. At least these escaped factories. The next design barely did. Bloch MB-152. 8 machine guns sounded devastating on paper. Reality. Engine failures mid-combat, gun jams during attacks, production chaos delaying everything. When operational, Bf-109's Fs had evolved past it. France's heavy hitter became every workshop's nightmare. One twin-engine type actually worked. Potez 631. Twin Hispano engines pushing 448 kilometers per hour made long-range reconnaissance possible. This versatile platform spawned night fighters, escorts, variants across services. Solid engineering, reliable performance, actual success, rare in French aviation. But one lightweight fighter earned deadlier reputation. Caudron C-714, Cyclone. French pilots called it flying Coffin and refused flying them. Too light, zero armor, structural failures killing crews randomly. Polish Squadron GC-1/145 volunteered anyway, against impossible odds. 12 confirmed kills before France fell. Courage can't fix bad engineering. Wooden construction promised better. Arsenal VG-33. Wooden airframe, 590 kilometers per hour. Faster than Bf-109Es, half the cost. France ordered 1,000. Production halted at 20 when Germany invaded. Perfect fighter, catastrophic timing. Potential died unproven. Meanwhile, obsolete designs refused dying. Dewoitine D.510. Fixed landing gear screaming 1935 obsolescence in 1940 warfare. Initially training roles, then desperation. Frontline squadrons flew these against Bf-109s. Predictable slaughter followed. Survivors evacuated to North Africa, far from Europe's lethal skies. France gambled on foreign engineering next. Koolhoven FK-58, bought from Netherlands to plug squadron gaps, 180 ordered in panic. Fast production, reasonable speed, fatal flaws. French pilots' verdict, no armor, pathetic guns, Dutch death traps. Emergency purchases sometimes create worse problems. One French prototype never escaped its problems. Potez 230, designed replacing obsolete biplanes across fighter force. Testing revealed harsh truth. Inadequate for 1940 combat. Replacement program failed replacing anything. Prototype stayed prototype. Wars aren't won testing aircraft endlessly. But France's best bomber almost won battles. Lioré et Olivier Leo 451. At 495 kilometers per hour, France's fastest bomber. Many outran Bf-109s during missions. Modern, capable, deadly. Then tactical lunacy, daylight raids without escorts. Loss rates hit 50% per mission. Excellence wasted through command incompetence. 10 fighters examined. Bombers proved worse. Amiot 351, sleek twin-engine modernity. Everything France needed yesterday. Manufacturing nightmare meant only 45 reached squadrons before June 1940 armistice. Plans promised 1,200. Reality delivered handful. Too little, too late became French aviation's epitaph. One light bomber actually fought. Breguet 693. Low-altitude nightmare for Wehrmacht. 490 kilometers per hour at treetop height. 450-kilogram bombs, devastating armor. Panzer crews feared these appearing from nowhere. When employed correctly, lethal against ground targets. Problem. Correct employment happened rarely. Confused doctrine wasted potential. Unlike one exported variant, Potez 633, light bomber from versatile 630 family, France exported dozens, kept fewer domestically, pressed into raids against advancing Germans. Export success, domestic afterthought, wartime mediocrity. Versatility couldn't mask averageness. Nothing prepared crews for flying apartment buildings, so Amiot 143. Crews called it the barn. Germans called it target practice. Maximum speed 310 kilometers per hour. Bf-109s cruised faster. Box-shaped 1934 design fighting, 1940 war. June 1940 losses, catastrophic. Sending men dying in obsolete machines. Yet another bomber featured stranger engineering. Bloch M B210, night bomber with bizarre fixed landing gear, obsolete at production start. Inadequate speed for combat by 1939. Relegated to training, transport, anything except fighting. Safe from enemies, useless for France's defense. Then converted mail planes appeared. Farman NC-223. Transatlantic mail plane hastily converted into 4-engine bomber. June 7, 1940. One conducted symbolic Berlin raid, more propaganda than damage. Converting civilian designs into warplanes made France's collapse visible. Speaking of obsolete conversions, Potez 540. This 1934 design fighting 1940 war, high wing, glazed nose, obsolete everywhere. Frontline combat meant suicide. Solution: North African patrols where Bf-109s never flew. Retirement disguised as deployment. Meanwhile, reconnaissance faced impossible odds. Potez 63.11. French Army's eyes, heavily glazed nose, 3 crew, cameras capturing German movements. Over 700 built most important reconnaissance type. Also most vulnerable, slow, undefended, essential. Loss rates horrific. Intelligence demanded sacrifice. Better variants promised salvation. Bloch M B175. Modern 3-seat reconnaissance bomber. 530 kilometers per hour, excellent performance. Only prototypes operational when France surrendered. Another what-if in doomed air war. Potential died unrealized. Excellence never reached production. Earlier models at least fought. Potez 637. Pre-63.1, 1 reconnaissance backbone. Medium-range mapping, observation duties. Adequate peacetime, marginal wartime. But marginal beats nothing when spotting panzer columns. It flew missions, returned data, survived briefly. Adequate seemed excellent amid desperation. One reliable observer kept flying. Moran 117. High-wing workhorse, reliable, obsolete, essential throughout Battle of France. Sometimes old means proven. Simple maintenance, high availability, adequate performance. Wars need workhorses more than racehorses, but nothing matched one legendary biplane's endurance. Potez 25. This 1925 biplane still flying 1940 missions, used by 20-plus nations. By World War II, training schools, African duties anywhere modern fighters wouldn't appear. 15-year service proved generational success. Ancient doesn't mean useless. Another observer served quietly. Potez 39. Sturdy 2-seater handling artillery spotting, liaison work throughout early war, overshadowed by newer types, essential for ground forces. Unglamorous missions, forgotten aircraft, necessary service. Wars need observers more than heroes. Some observation aircraft looked bizarre. Brigade 27. Exposed rear fuselage, visible internal structure, aerodynamic nightmare, visual spectacle. Rugged biplane, terrifyingly slow against Bf-109s, flying exposed skeletons into modern warfare, survival rates, terrible, required courage, maximum. Now maritime aviation faced different challenges. Latécoère 298, France's finest naval aircraft, durable floatplane excelling at anti-submarine patrols, torpedo attacks, served both Free French and Vichy navies. When opposing sides use your design, reliability speaks louder than politics. Maritime warfare demands different virtues. This delivered. 25 aircraft examined. What flew from water changed everything. Loire 130. Every French battleship carried these. Catapult float planes on Dunkirk, Strasbourg, Richelieu. All major cruisers throughout 1930s to 40s. robust, reliable, ubiquitous. Fleet's eyes launched from capital ships into hostile waters. Essential becomes invisible through routine. Massive flying boats patrolled farther. Breguet 521 Bizerte. 4 engines, 4,500 kilometers range, Atlantic anti-submarine warfare, giants patrolling where wolf packs hunted convoys relentlessly, slow, massive, essential for convoy protection. These behemoths meant survival for merchant sailors, but some maritime projects died instantly. Lioré et Olivier Leo H470. 4-engine reconnaissance flying boat, designed, built, killed. Single prototype tested before France's collapsing industry murdered another program. Building one proves concepts. Building one wins nothing. However, one gigantic boat flew combat missions. CAMS 141, gigantic 4-engine boat for extreme-range reconnaissance. France built exactly one before war erupted. One flew, dozens needed, none coming. Concept proven, production never started. Single examples don't win maritime wars. Then converted designs appeared. Latecoere 302. What happens converting mail planes into patrol bombers? This 3-engine transatlantic floatplane proved it possible. Mail routes became patrol zones overnight. Civil engineering served military desperation. Range mattered more than speed over Atlantic. Some aircraft were ancient. CAMS 55, ancient biplane flying boat, slow, outdated, dependable for coastal duties, coastal patrols where speed didn't matter. Sometimes old technology outlasts new complexity. Harbors needed watchers, not fighters. Another aging design kept patrolling Mediterranean. Loire 70. 3-engine maritime patrol across Mediterranean, North Atlantic. Aging by 1939. Still flew where newer aircraft couldn't reach. Patrol duties don't retire aircraft. France stretched every resource thin. Even obsolete carrier fighters tried fighting. Levasseur PL-7. So bad, carriers refused them. That's embarrassing. Outdated single-seat fighter withdrawn immediately. Performance versus land fighters. Humiliating. French carriers deserved better than obsolete cast-offs. Naval aviation struggled throughout. Transport aircraft kept forces moving. Caudron C445, Goéland. Twin-engine transport. Exceptional reliability, excellent visibility, served decades. Liaison. Personnel movement. Ubiquitous throughout war and post-war era. Some designs succeed through simplicity. This earned reputation through dependable service everywhere. Another Caudron achieved literary fame. Caudron C630. Simoun. Light touring plane achieving fame through Antoine de Saint-Exupéry's long-distance flights. The Little Prince author flew these before writing classics. Then war killed him over Mediterranean. Literary immortality, aviation excellence, pilot mortality. Sometimes aircraft transcend military roles. Civilian airliners became transports instantly. Bloch MB-220. Pre-war passenger airliner pressed into military service when war erupted. Passenger comfort became cargo capacity overnight. Airline seats removed, equipment loaded. Civilian origins, wartime necessity. Commercial success translated into military utility. Purpose-built transports worked better. Potez 650. 3-engine transport designed for military operations from conception. Moving supplies, personnel between bases throughout territories. Purpose-built beats converted civilian aircraft. This knew its mission from drawing board. Supply lines depended on these. Smaller types handled communications. Potez 58. Small 3-seater. Communications, light observation across theaters. Size limited capability but enhanced availability everywhere. Small aircraft, vital missions, nobody remembers. Communications win wars invisibly. 4 aircraft remaining, training built pilots. These were strangest yet. Morane Saulnier, MS-230. Iconic parasol wing primary trainer, French Air Force standard for a decade. Most pilots learned fundamentals here before combat types. First flights, lasting impressions. Generations trained on these before facing Germans. Many never returned. Another liaison workhorse served quietly. Caudron C440, Goéland. Small high-wing liaison, valued for simplicity, robustness throughout theaters. Maintenance crews loved it. Pilots trusted it. Commanders relied on it. This ugly thing outlasted beautiful fighters. War's bitter irony. Ancient biplanes still flew. Farman 29. Obsolete biplane offering remarkable payload despite ancient design. North African colonies lacked modern alternatives. Colonial service meant extended life beyond European obsolescence. Payload mattered more than speed there. One final giant completed transport fleet. Farman F-224. Massive four-engine airliner adapted for military transport. Moving troops, supplies across vast distances. Civilian giants became military workhorses overnight through necessity. France's collapse visible through desperate conversions. Airlines became air forces when nations fall.